this closer to the it's going to be a better contrast. There we go. So we want to join this orange colour. So we've gone in as our normal stitch. Okay, this is how I do it. I would hold the tail end. Give yourself enough tail that you can weave it in easily when you finished your project. We all hate weaving in ends, but it is a fact of life if you decide to crochet or knit. So give yourself a nice long tail and then pinch it onto your work like so. And hold it. I've let go of the blue working end and I'm now holding my orange. So instead of yarning over with your blue end, you're going to yarn over and finish the stitch with your orange yarn. And there you have your new colour. What we're going to do now is finish our row. So we finished our row. We're going to chain 1. Let's go back into single crochet just to make it easier for this example. Turn your work and make sure that you're wrapping your working end and not the other end. If you want to make sure that this is nice and tight and the loop that is here doesn't go all loose, because it's going to make your work look all funny. So keep this not too tight, but keep it good tension on it. So you've got your next stitch. And what we're going to do now is run our tail end. You just want to hold it along the piece of your project. So we're going to go into single crochet. And what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that when you're yarning over, your tail end is actually kind of getting caught. You know, you're laying it across the hook basically. So pull through and then finish your stitch. So your tail end is going through the middle of your work. I'm actually not sure if this is the best yarn to be able to see with, but we'll keep going. So we're going through our next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and you'll see that this tail end is getting caught in the stitch. And then you're carrying it basically. You're carrying it along. So basically meaning, and if you do this, it's up to you how thorough you want to be, and it depends on what you're making. If you're making something that needs to be really is going to get, like for a kid or something that's going to get chucked about a lot and all this kind of stuff, I would recommend that you catch the tail for a few stitches and then leave the rest hanging out and carry on with your work. So you will have an end to weave in at the end. So at the end of your project, when you've finished all your rows and everything, you're going to have some ends to weave in. It does, however, mean that when you weave your end in, you can, so you've gone a little bit this way, in your next row, you can take it up and around. So you're sort of zigzagging it up. It just makes it a better, it helps keep it fixed. If you go along this way, it still keeps it fixed in, and it means that you won't have to weave in any ends. If you weave them in as you go, which I highly recommend doing. If you weave them in as you go, you won't have to weave in any ends at the end of your project. You can pretty much finish up and you're done. Alrighty, so we've joined our colour correctly and we've done a row. So now we're going to join incorrectly, because I think it's important. It's all well and good to know how to do something properly. If you don't know how to do it wrong, then you don't know how to avoid doing it wrong in the future. So I'm just going to go to the other end. Okay. So I was editing my videos last night and realised that half of it has gone missing. So we are back. It's a couple of days later to finish off talking about changing colours at the beginning of a row and mid-row, and also slip stitch, but we'll get to that in a minute. So we changed our colour at the end of this row. We did it correctly, so we're going to do it incorrectly now. So we're going to find the final stitch in our row and insert our hook. Now if we were doing this correctly, we would finish off with the colour that we plan to go on with, which if we were changing would be the blue. But we're going to do it incorrectly, so we're going to finish our stitch off with the orange, and then we're going to carry on our stitch with the blue, or we're going to start our new stitch with the blue. So we will chain one and turn. And then, whoops, sorry. And then we're going to come in with our new colour. So this is where you would normally have chained one with your blue here. So we're going to insert in the first stitch, pull up our yarn and pull through. And that's where you would think your first stitch would be if you were doing it wrong. So let's do a few more single crochet. Excuse my sniffly nose, and then we'll stop. So you can see here that because we didn't finish our old stitch with our new colour, it's kind of bled into the new stitch and it's carried it up. And it would be the same actually if you had chained with your new, oops. So even if you did your chain one in your new colour and carried on, we'll do a few. Just a few examples of how not to change colours in a single crochet or any other. You want to bring your new colour through in your last part of your previous stitch. So you can see here when we changed into the orange from the blue, not including this loop here because this is I've carried it up, there's very clear definition between the two lines. We've got blue and then we have the orange. Because we didn't finish our final orange stitch off with the new colour, you can see how it's bled into the next row. So it's not as clean. It's come up. We'll do the same in the middle of the row. So changing colours in the middle of a row. So let's say we want to switch back to orange now. This is the correct way to do it. So we yarn over, pull through with our blue, and then we are going to finish off our stitch with our new colour. So we're not going to yarn over and pull through with the blue, we're going to yarn over and pull through with the orange. So we're going to put our blue down, pick up our orange, yarn over, pull through. So we've finished with our new colour. Well, let's do a few. Single crochet, fold do. You can see we've done our colour change there, so we've gone from blue to orange. Now let's do it the wrong way. So we want to switch back to blue. We're going to start our stitch, and instead of changing over now to our new colour, we're going to pull through and then start. Now we're going to drop the orange and start with the blue. Excuse me, just trying to keep this all in focus. Where's my blue? So with yarn, we're going to yarn over with the blue and finish off our stitch. Now let's do a few more. Finish off the row. Ta-da. And there you have it. So there's our 2 colour changes there. So if we look a little closely, let's just zoom. In the top of our, we've got our top of our V's here. The stitch, each stitch has 2 V's. This is the way that it makes sense to me. So this is how I'm going to explain it. Each stitch has 2 V's. You've got a V on the front of your work and a V on the top of your work. And so you can very clearly see we've got our blue V on the top and the front, and then when we've changed colours, it's switched to our orange V on the front and on the top, and that's when we did it correctly. If we go over to where we did it incorrectly, we've got our blue V where we change colour to blue on the front, but we still have our orange V on the top because we didn't finish off with the new yarn. We didn't finish this stitch with the new yarn. And then we go into our blue. So it's the best way I can think to explain it. So if you don't want your colours bleeding into each other, you finish as you mean to go on. Because I've always seen, you could say it's the start of the new stitch when you yarn over and finish off, but yeah. So there's your colour changes. So colour changing wrong at the end and wrong in the middle of a row. So there you have it. Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about today, we've talked about colour changes, is slip stitches. So we had the slip knot that we started with. Slip stitch is slightly different. So you might find this is used to get around a piece of work without increasing the stitches or the height or anything like that. The slip stitch is, again, another one that's super versatile and can be used for so much stuff, and super easy. So we're going to do a couple of single crochet. This is quite often used as well if you're making flowers or anything with shape, or petals on stuff, ears. So so we've done a couple of single crochet, and now we want to do 2 or 3 slip stitches just to get across the work, for example. So what we're going to do is start in the same way as a single crochet and go through our next V, yarn over and pull that through. But instead of yarning over again, you're going to continue to pull that loop through. So through the stitch and yarn over, you've pulled through to here. You're now going to continue pulling that through. So you're only yarning over once and pulling the stitch through. So this is a single crochet. So through, yarn over, 2 loops, pull through. Slip stitch would be through, yarn over, and pull through. No extra yarn over. So you're slipping, you can kind of see the difference between the two there. You're just skipping the stitch almost. You don't want to do anything in the stitch, but you want to move across the piece of work. And you'll find that slip stitches, the V in a single crochet sits on the top like this, whereas a slip stitch sits more on sort of the front of the work. When you look at it from the top, you can see. So super duper easy. great for doing things like if you did a slip stitch and then a slip stitch, and then a single crochet, a half double, and then let's do a double, half double, single, slip stitch, and we've created a little wave in our, so one of the ways that we could use slip stitches to get through you know, edging of blankets and things like that. So yeah, let's do a few more of those just to show you. So we'll just start with a single crochet to get us into the work. My yarns are getting all tangled up here. So into the top of the stitch, yarn over and pull through everything. Into the top of the stitch, yarn over and pull through everything. And this is where we did all our slip stitches, so the top of the stitch actually moves to a different spot. Find your V. It can be a little bit more fiddly to work into slip stitches. And you got to make sure you don't do them too tight. It's very easy to mess up your tension on a slip stitch, and then you've got like this really tight. Focus, thank you. So there you go. Slip stitch. And here is my bizarre sampler of all the different stitches that we've covered so far. So there we go. The last thing you're going to want to know is, as a little bonus, how to finish off your work. So once you've finished stitching, all you want to do is pull up a loop with your hook. You're going to cut your yarn and thread it through this loop, and you're basically just, it's kind of binding off. Thread it through, pull that tight, and there you go, the end. And that is your Crochet Basics 101. Please let me know if there's any questions, and if you have any other stitches you'd like me to cover. I'm just getting geared up to launch into my Granny Square series. I'll be releasing, I'm going to try for one Granny Square a week, with the hope of making a very cool sampler pattern for a blanket in the end. So join me for that, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.